Hello, and welcome to another episode of Movies That Make Us. I'm Jake.
I'm Tracy.
And I'm Val.
And look at this, 2 weeks in a row, guys. 2 weeks. It's almost like we're a real live podcast. It's awesome.
Well, guess what? Next week.
I know. I said it, and I realized what I was saying as I was saying it.
Well, it's my fault, but it's just a crazy
time. Busy time of year for Val.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is, because all of the conventions and festivals and Burning Mans and everything else that's going on.
I just love the juxtaposition of Burning Man and then D23.
Yeah.
That makes me so happy. Yeah.
It's going to be wild, man. Wild.
Yeah. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, I'm excited. I mean, I love my job, so I love doing this with you guys. I love that job. It's super fun. I'm heading to Burning Man tomorrow. My first time there. I saw all the videos that my colleagues have been sending about the flooding. So that's super fun. But like I've got all of my safari and Alaska clothes like ready to just be in, like I've been in, that kind of stuff. So
how bad is the flooding?
There was a guy on a kayak going down the playa in between all the RVs. So I messaged one of my managers and I said, so do I pack my arm floaties or do I leave them home? And she's like, as much as I'd love to see those, probably just leave those at home. And I'm like, okay, fine.
I don't know. I mean, I'd bring them just to be safe.
I just want to walk around with them,
Just totally fit in. That would not be out of place there.
Yeah, I don't think that would be out of place at all.
The thing is what I love about this is that all of my post-apocalyptic clothing that I can't really wear together in Utah because it's just, like people wouldn't appreciate it. I'm taking it all there. I will be posting pictures with my Mad Max clothes that I just have in my closet. And they're like, oh, we have a pirate night. I'm like, got that in my closet.
Totally got it covered.
Tell me what I need. It's in there. Does anybody else need anything else? I'll bring it.
I watched Fury Road the other day, so I'm all for this. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a lot of polo shirts and dress shirts in my closet.
When I was a professional,
this is why our show works. Because of the differences.
I know that most of you, as going over, how many years has it been now? Holy cow, 5 years?
Yeah.
In the 5 years that we've been doing this, I have gotten less and less and less and less professional in my look. Like I have gone from almost totally professional to I have a head tattoo. So, but I used to have professional. I mean, they're still in my closet. Professional.
So she's saying it's our fault, Jake?
No,
that's what I heard.
No,
but I'm not even sorry about it.
I'm not either.
You just have been able to see the progression. Of me falling out of the professional working.
If it's our fault that Val is living a more authentic life, I'm all for it.
I agree with that.
I do not own a pair of khakis anymore. I do not have a pair of black dress pants where that is what before 2010, I never wore jeans and a t-shirt. I think I maybe owned one pair of jeans.
Wow.
And then as I worked, it was radio's fault, honestly. When I got into radio, there's no reason for a promotions director except for if we have to go somewhere fancy to ever be dressed up.
Right.
Because we're always building things and putting things up and taking them down. And, I didn't dress like a bum, but I'm not putting on dress pants to set up tents and tables. Right.
Absolutely. Right.
And then once I got on the air, I'm at work at 3 a.m. Screw you. I am not getting ready for that. Yeah. Nobody sees me. Well, Mike did, but he didn't care.
I'll be honest. I also don't own a pair of khakis, but it's not because of the work that I do or anything like that. It's just because being named Jake and not ever working at State Farm, I will never ever own a pair of khakis.
If you get khakis
just because of that commercial,
I just am not going to know who you are.
Yeah, I can't
So what
do it.
kind of
It's
pants do you wear to work?
dress pants, but they're not like khaki dress pants. They're like suit pants. I usually wear a
Okay.
suit.
Gotcha.
So
You're super fancy.
I've got like one pair of dress
Yeah.
pants. I don't think I have any khakis. I've got like 3 pairs of sneakers, 1 pair of dress shoes, but they're really uncomfortable.
Yeah. I have those hiking pants that are of a khaki color
Yeah,
that I
yeah,
bought
those
for
are
South
Alaska.
Africa that I'm taking to
South
Burning
Africa,
Man.
yeah.
But like those are like hiking pants. They're not.
Yeah, those aren't like
Yeah.
business khakis. Yeah.
No. No.
Yeah.
This is
Those are for
riveting.
getting dirty.
You know, speaking of clothing, Tracy, I was admiring your shirt before
Yes.
off air before we started
Yes.
recording. I love it. Tracy and I have become fans of Roosevelt.
You
I know that
have
they
gotten me hooked.
sponsor a couple of YouTubers out there. I'm just saying
Come on in.
we are two, moderately good-looking guys, and we would love to sport your shirts more.
You
It was
better
funny. I was
hashtag
watching.
them for this episode.
I will at them and hashtag them, and
It's because of you had a couple, and I'm like, okay, those are really cool designs. And then you sent me the link over to the website, and I started looking through, and I'm like, all right, that's a cool design. That's a cool design. And I ordered my first one. And you're never sure when you order a shirt off the internet or any kind of clothing
right.
off the internet, because you're like, is it going to feel good? Does it fit right? And man, these things are super comfortable.
They're very comfortable. They're very lightweight. I love wearing mine like to the conventions that to the convention that we go to occasionally. Right. And I just love it because it's so lightweight, and I feel like I don't get extra sweaty or anything.
Yeah.
And they do have cool designs, but the material is really what won me over the most on it. So
yeah, and they've got everything from like Happy Gilmore to Fred Flintstone to Pixar to Jaws. I mean, you name it.
Yeah.
If you're a fan of something, you probably have a design for it.
I was watching a Disneyland YouTube video today, Magic Journeys. I don't know if you guys have checked out that channel. It's fun. Mm-hmm. But they were showing all the Halloween decorations, but the host, I think he's anyway, the host that's on there, he was wearing my Star Wars shirt.
Oh, nice.
Roosevelt. So I was like, hey, it's my Star Wars shirt. I was really excited.
Were you like the Leonardo DiCaprio meme from
yeah, like I was like but it made me think I need to have a couple of those that I can bring when we go to Disneyland in January. Because they're just cool looking and they're comfortable.
Comment on them. Like I went and saw the podiatrist today, and the podiatrist was like, "Oh my gosh, I love your shirt." I'm like, "Cool." So we had a little conversation.
Yeah, when I wear my ET one out, people are always like, "I thought those were blueberries." I'm like, "No, the big circles aren't even blue. They're like the one part of the shirt that's not blue." Anyway, but
Roosevelt's.
Yeah, Roosevelt's, give us a call. We're your guys. But I will say Disneyland coming up in January, it's starting to get real. It's getting close. We're all in the middle of training. We're all in the middle
booked
of
our hotel
trying to get ready.
Hotel. Val got us a screaming deal.
Yep.
Thank you, Getaway Today.
Thank you, Getaway Today. And we also would love you to sponsor us as well.
Every time I've gone to Disneyland, I've used Getaway Today to go to get the tickets. It just makes it so easy, kind of one-stop shop if you're planning a trip, and they take good care of you. So again, that is a wonderful plug that I would love to continue to do. Getaway Today, give us a call. I'll at them on this as well.
First one's free.
They're like, oh, great. So all 5 of your viewers. No, just kidding. We have more than that. Roosevelt's and Getaway Today, and with your help, we could have even more. But we are raising money now. Let's promote something that is actually really, really important. We are raising money for the American Cancer Society. You guys, this is a great charity because everything that they get goes to cancer research, to help individuals who are fighting cancer get trips to the therapy that they need to go to, or the doctor, or whatever the case might be. $5 makes a huge difference. Yeah. So they're out there trying to make a difference. All of us have been touched at some point or another by cancer. And like, I think everybody out there has at this point, right?
Yeah. Everybody's you could not have. Yeah.
Yeah. So
and the great thing with them, every dollar that you donate goes directly to them.
Yes.
And they're an A+ rated charity. So like they have very little overhead. The majority of the donations, I mean, they have to pay their people some, you know, but the majority, they're not throwing lavish parties. They're not, you know, having Elon Musk come out and throw a rave party for them. You know, it's all your money is going to cancer and helping people with cancer.
Yeah. And Tracy, you've done this charity. Well, I mean, I think the first time you did it was right after we started recording the show, or
just
shortly thereafter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
2020.
Right and I just appreciate that you've done this. You've been part of the team. It's been a great community. I think that the charity itself is really good. Guys, we wouldn't ask for donations if we didn't trust the charity that we were asking for donations for.
Yeah.
So,
and I mean, you guys are on the Facebook group. I mean, like you see posts from people who are like in chemo treatments, who are planning on racing later on next year. You know, I mean, it's incredible.
Yeah.
So,
So if you can donate, we will put the link in the description for this video, as well as any of our social media posts. If you can, we would love it. Even $5 makes a big difference. So please consider doing that if you can. Whew, I think that was all of the housekeeping, right?
Good job.
So I was on an airplane. Crazy, I know.
You?
But last week I was flying home.
That's weird. You never fly places, Val. That's so strange.
I was flying home from the Canadias, and I mean, it's just a Canada. I don't know that there isn't. It seems like there's more than one type of Canada, because depending on where you go, they're all different areas and spaces. And I've been to 2 different locations in Canada now. They could not be more different. Beautiful, very nice people, but very different cultures. But and I was going through the movies, and it's really hard because like I get on and I'm like, okay, what movie do I want to watch again? Because normally there is not a movie that I haven't seen, right? And so I'm like, okay, what do I want to get into? I always go to documentaries and see what new because sometimes in the docs I'm like, oh, I haven't seen that, you know. Seen all those, and so I'm just scrolling, and I saw the movie Lion, and it was a movie that I saw when it came out, and it's one that I only watched one time after it came out. And so I'm like, okay, well, I'll watch this one because I really love the actors that are in it, and I remember, you know, the story. But what I didn't remember is all the times that you cry during the movie. And so luckily I was sitting next to the window seat, and I'm like, I'm just going to look out the window. Oh, that's really cool over
don't
there.
Mind me.
And then like go back to the movie. Yeah. So it's an emotional ride.
It's a beautiful film.
Yes.
My gosh, the cinematography on this is just fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it is definitely one of those movies. I've mentioned this before. Sometimes you put on a movie and you start to watch it, and there's just a certain quality. Like some movies just have a quality that's like, I know this is going to be good filmmaking.
Yeah.
And this definitely has that quality from the beginning.
And you've got some really great people. I mean, Nichole Kidman is in it. David Wenham. I don't know if I ever say his name right, but I love him. You don't see him in a ton of stuff, but when you do, he is always like a star of like whatever scene he is in. I don't know if you guys have seen, he was in the Elvis movie that came out. He was also in Australia. Yeah. And in that movie, like you want to hate his guts in that movie, but he's so good. Yeah. And then of course Dev Patel, who is in it. But I think one of the superstars of this movie is Sonny. He's plays the younger. Yeah. And you know, Dev Patel's younger character. And this kid is amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. Typically when you've got a child actor, I never hold child actors to the same standard that I would an adult actor. Yeah. But they typically are there to look the part and just kind of. But this kid's got chops, man. He's a great actor.
It's the precocious kid. You know, it's the smart alecky kid. It's the kid that's whatever. But for a kid to carry, I mean, like he's got to carry a good half of this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
for those who haven't seen Lion, which I'm guessing is most of you out there, because this was one that it wasn't a big box office smash hit. It wasn't a blockbuster, right? But for those that don't know the story, it is about a boy in India who gets lost on a train.
Well, his mother. I don't know if they say what happened to his father, but his mom's a single mother.
Mm-hmm.
He and his older brother, the scene where his older brother is going to go to work, and he's trying to convince him that he should go with him. And his older brother's like, "You're too little." And he's like, "I can lift anything." And he goes around and he's picking up anything he can get his hands on to show how strong he is. That scene was,
which, by the way, is a total thing that a kid that age would do. Yeah. I could see Ben doing the same thing. Oh, I can do that, Dad. Don't even worry about it. Like, okay.
But it's so innocent, like you were saying, Jake. It's so innocent because he's asking his brother if he can go hang out with him, if he can go to work with him. Which, I mean, if you have an older sibling, you only just wanted to hang out with your older sibling your entire, youth. I mean, I always wanted to go play with my sister, and then my mom would make her take me, and then her and her friend would make me go take a nap when I got to her friend's house. Like, I couldn't actually play with them. No therapy for that at all. But like, so he goes and he gets on this train. He's trying to be with his brother, and he gets on this train and he falls asleep.
Because it's a night job.
The train car, because it's a night job. They're doing something that's not on the up and up, right? And he gets lost and left on this train, and he wakes up. The train is completely empty, and it's heartbreaking when he's yelling as the train is going by at the top of his lungs, and you can't hear him. And then it stops, and he sees another little boy all by himself, and he's like, "Save me, help me, like, get me out of here." And that kid is just like, I can't do anything.
The shot from behind the kid, seeing the train and seeing that little arm sticking out while he's screaming, "Save me." Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Yeah. And this is based on a true story, everybody. This isn't made up. Of course, there's a lot of things. And I was trying to explain this to somebody today at the barbershop when I went, because I now go to the barbershop. I'm cool like that. They were talking movies to me, and I said, they brought up a certain movie that's out in the theaters right now. That's a hot topic. And I said, well, hold on a second. Even if it's a biopic, which is kind of what this is, right? It's based on a true story movie, which is, so is this other movie. I said, it doesn't mean that it's all true.
Right.
Even if it's a documentary, it doesn't mean that it's all true. I said, the basic idea is out there, and you can enjoy it for the entertainment that it is. And there's going to be a lot of it that is true. But hopefully a movie like this, like Lion, sparks something in you to go learn about what the whole story is. Right. Or you can just watch it and be entertained and feel the feelings and understand that some of this happened, and how crazy is that it happened.
This kid ended up traveling 1,000 miles.
Yeah, it was 12, wasn't it 1,200?
Yeah. 1,200 kilometers or something.
Yeah,
something miles.
Yeah, crazy amount away from his house. He doesn't speak the same language because in the different areas in his country, it's all these different dialects, like so many different dialects. And so now he's in a city, and he's tiny, and all these people are just like crammed in this station. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, this kid is going to get trampled. And him climbing up on that thing and just being there as a sea of people. I'm just like, I would want to help him, but nobody wants to help him.
He's on that pole and he's crying out for his mother.
Yes.
Yeah. I'll tell you, my parental anxiety was through the roof during these scenes, because it was just like because you think, what if that was my kid out there? And like, it's hard. So it's hard to watch sometimes, but it's the reality too.
Tracy brought up the cinematography, and the story of the coloring in this movie is so great, because when he is with his mom at the beginning of the movie, even though, so she's like paying some kind of debt to society, right? It's her job to carry rocks, and they don't ever really say that that's what it is, but you kind of get the gist that she's doing hard labor. She's paying back a debt of sorts. And so she doesn't have a lot of money, and they're in this very small town, and everybody knows each other, right? Yeah. And the colors are it's a lot of browns and dirt. And every once in a while you'll see like some other bright, things, because he's still in this childlike atmosphere, and he doesn't care that his mom moves rocks. That's exciting. Like he can help his mom move rocks. Mom, I can help you. I'm strong.
Yeah.
But when he gets off that train, the color of the whole movie goes down. Mm-hmm. Like it's dank. It is dark and dank and scary.
Yeah.
I mean, he wakes up and it's just blue. It's just Oof. Yeah.
Well, and it shouldn't be surprising that the coloring and everything with the cinematography is as good as it is. Greg Fraser is the cinematographer. If you don't know that name, I'm sure Tracy does, because Tracy knows all the names.
I couldn't tell you off the top of my head what he's done, but I recognize the name.
Okay, well, I'm going to list them, Tracy, and you're going to understand why you enjoyed the cinematography of this movie. Dune, Rogue One, The Batman, just all sorts of films where the coloring and the visual effects just tell so much of the story. Zero Dark 30 is another one.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, this guy's good, and the way he uses the pictures to tell the story is amazing.
Well, and that's what's so cool, is because it's like, if you have studied film and you've learned about it and you know some of these things, even if it's done really well, even if you haven't studied and you haven't paid attention, it still affects you on a subconscious level. Like you still notice it on some level.
Yeah. Yeah. It's amazing. And just going from like, there's a lot of different time frames in the movie, but I don't think you get lost. They do a good job of pacing and editing, because you're going to go back and forth from when he was a kid to then when, like, go back to his mom and brother looking for him, to then he's older and then he gets adopted. And that's when he gets found. So he's trying to find his home. He doesn't find his home. Nobody understands what he's saying. And he ends up finding a whole bunch of other orphaned kids. And like tries to become a little bit of their community, and they all get raided. And he gets away, which I'm like, okay, child trafficking, like like it's freaking scary that this happens all the time. 60,000 kids a year there, right? Go misplaced from their families. And so it's just heartbreaking, but he gets away, and he just kind of figures out how to do it and get by. And he's in a country where they're so used to seeing homeless kids that are like 5 years old, dirty and sleeping on the side of the road, which is another sad situation, that there are countries out there that are like this, but there are. And then he falls into another sticky situation.
Oh, that whole sequence was rough.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So he thinks he finds a trusting person.
She gives him soda pop and nice to him, and this guy is going to come and save him, and they're going to find his mom together, and no, they're not.
Yeah.
And he gets away.
Yeah. Because he's got the But then he does
that's one of those
orphanage. Oh, sorry, Jake, go ahead.
Yep. No, I was just gonna say that's another one of those moments where it's like, dude, and you just don't want to see it. Watch it. So you're like,
please
come on,
please no, please.
Yeah.
Please don't, please. Yeah, exactly. So.
Yeah. But this kid, through like this whole situation, this young actor, like you don't see, I just see what's happening. I don't recognize that this isn't happening to him. Like, it's crazy how good it is. And again, the whole coloring of that scene, it's not going to go well, because when he's walking on the tracks, you kind of have these amber skies, and you see a little bit of hope in the air, no pun intended, but it's out there in the air. And then once they get to her neighborhood, it goes back to the blue, right? It goes back to that kind of danky blue. And then he gets put in an orphanage. And, it's not like in the United States where if you're found, they're going to try and find your family, right?
Right.
They put him in an orphanage because there are so many homeless kids there.
They put out a newspaper ad.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's it. But if it's not even in the same area or in this, like
same language or
language or whatever, that's what they done. And then they send him to Australia to get adopted. So it's like you're now so far away from your house, not just in a different province or a different city or whatever. You're in a different country. You are across the pond in a different country with a whole new language, with people that are unlike anybody you have ever seen before. Because when you get to see these parents, we've never seen Nichole Kidman even look like this, right? He is the whitest of white, like fluorescent white. She's got this bright red hair, like all right here. And like he is only seen a very specific type of person.
Right.
It's crazy.
And it's crazy how much Nichole Kidman looks like his mother, the adopted mother. Because at the end they have video and photographs, and it's crazy how much it's like, wow, she really looks like.
Well, yeah, when she shows up in the wig originally, it's like, that is such a bad, like the big hair, like that is such a bad look. But yeah, like you said, then you see the pictures like, oh no, that's actually really spot on for what it was. Still a bad look, but I understand why they did it
now. Have I ever talked to you guys about the movie Rabbit Proof Fence? That's one that we should do one of these days. That one it's an Australian film, and it's got a lot of similarities. It's based on a true story about, it's got Kenneth Branagh. It's about how back in Australia, the white settlers were building a rabbit-proof fence across Australia to keep the rabbits out of the farmlands. And while they were there, some of them would have relationships with the natives, and they would have half-caste children. And what they would do is they didn't want to dilute the pure white blood. And so they would take these children away and would like raise them to be either slaves. If they were lucky, they were like housemates. And so these two little girls get kidnapped and taken clear across Australia, and they walk all the way back to find their way back home. So this is a very similar.
Yeah. In Australia, the movie Australia, they talk about that because they take all the half kids to an island and raise them there.
So it's so sad and to think that we're not that far removed, and it's still happening in a lot of cases. This isn't a movie that was set back in the 1800s. This was like in the 80s.
I don't think we understand. I don't anyway. Having never lived or been to India, and like the caste system and the amount of people and the poverty levels and things like that, it's so hard for us to even imagine and comprehend that. And so seeing these things and understanding this wasn't, a long time ago, this was within my lifetime, that's amazing to me.
Yeah.
And I gotta say, I don't know why Dev Patel is not a bigger name star. Like, has everything you're looking for in a leading man.
Yeah, I mean, he came out on the scene, and everybody really paid attention when Slumdog Millionaire came out in 2008, right? And I thought that movie was fine. I thought it was a good movie, but he has done so many great movies. Like, I love the Best Exotic Hotel, which I think we've talked about on this show. Is so great. And there was 2 movies to that. He was in Old, which wasn't the best movie, but he was really great in it.
The Green Knight.
That's Tracy's favorite.
The Green Knight is Dave hates that movie more than anything. I don't hate it.
The Green Knight.
I don't hate The Green Knight, but I don't.
Oh, I love that one.
I think it was a good piece of art, but I think it's one of those things that is only for a very specific audience, but it doesn't mean that that's bad. You know what I mean? It definitely is not for everyone.
He is fantastic.
He is.
Yeah. Tracy's favorite Dev Patel film is definitely Old, because we know how he feels about M. Night Shyamalan.
No, but he's such a great actor, and I also don't understand why he's not doing more. maybe it's a choice, but yeah, he hasn't since the Green Knight. Old and the Green Knight came out in the same year, and he hasn't. He has something coming out this year. The Wonderful Story of Henry.
That one
is coming out. I haven't seen anything on it.
Okay.
But that has a really great cast. It's Benedict Cumberbatch, Dev Patel, Ralph Fiennes, Rupert Friend, Ben Kingsley.
I love Ben Kingsley.
This is an amazing cast of people, and it says it's coming out September 1st. So right around the corner, like in 2 weeks, it'll be out. I don't know why I haven't seen anything on it, but
that makes me nervous when you've got that many great names in it and we haven't heard or seen any.
Well, I just haven't. I am not the all-seeing eye of everything.
No, but I haven't. Between the three of us, I don't think any of us have heard anything about.
Yeah, I mean, it might be in some email somewhere, and I just have not been paying attention.
Well, and it's hard too when there's not a whole lot of publicity going on. Like you don't have the stars out talking about it.
That's true.
Yeah, and
shows.
And things are going to start getting pushed back. Like, I don't want to get too far off topic here, but if you have a movie that you're looking forward to that's coming out, it might be pushed back because this strike is not going to end by the end of the year, and they need to make these movies kind of last a little bit. So maybe we haven't heard much about it because it might be pushed. I don't know. We'll see. I'll look up.
Right, but that's definitely going to start happening. Yeah.
It is because they've got to stretch it out anyway.
Yeah, yeah.
I want the actors and the writers to get treated fairly and get paid fairly and all of that. But I'm also Star Trek: Strange New Worlds just ended season 2 on this huge cliffhanger, and it's probably going to be at least 2 years before season 3 comes out because. And I don't know if I can take it. I can. It's fine because people equal pay and fairness and all. I'm all for it.
But the fan in
But at the same time,
the fan in
me like I can't wait that long. It'll be fine. I'll be fine. So I will say this movie has a very intriguing beginning. It's very well played, and I think the end is pretty good. I feel like it kind of dragged a little bit in the middle.
I felt that.
Did you guys feel that as well, or am I way off?
I feel like so he's having in the middle of the movie, he's having a crisis. He has grown up. He now has been living with his adopted parents since he was younger, to the point where he doesn't really remember a lot of his childhood. And he has an adopted older brother who went through similar situations, but actually was trafficked. And so he has a lot of trauma. And his parents have had to spend a lot of time kind of working with him. So one of the adopted kids could not be saved. Right. And the other kid, who really didn't need to be saved, was doing really well. Right. And so he, has some issues with, being put in the same category as his adopted brother. He has some issues kind of he starts remembering his past, and he wants to go figure out who his mom really is, but he doesn't want to compromise the relationship he has with his adopted mom.
Well, and then too, he's got resentment towards his brother because he feels like he is hurting their mother.
Yeah.
Anyway. Yeah.
But I think he also has survivor's guilt. Like to me, I think he's angry at his brother because, he understands what he's going through, and it's hard because he saw what could have happened to him and it didn't happen to him. And so I think he's really, really angry with himself.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's a good point.
That's
and I do think that
in me.
No, I like it. I like it. Therapist Val. Put a can out there to collect nickels.
I am not a professional therapist. I've just been to a lot of therapy.
I do think, and you hit on this, the adopted parent and child relationship is really well explored in the film in the way that, like, he does have a good relationship with his adopted parents, and he does have a strong familial bond there, even though they're not bound by blood, right? And a lot of times a lot of times in a lot of movies, adoption is kind of used as a plot device to like the parents are kind of the whether it's I've got to find out who I am and figure it out, or the parents are kind of the bad guys because of whatever. But in this case, like they were just a really good family that through adoption,
actually decent people that just
yeah
wanted to adopt these kids. And we find out when he finds out, so Dev's character, you know, finds out towards the end that it wasn't that his adopted mom couldn't have children. He thought that's why he was adopted. It's she wanted to adopt from the minute she was in junior high or whatever. Yeah. She knew she was going to adopt, and not only that, adopt a child from India. And she felt so strongly about this that's what she wanted to do. She said, there are too many people in the world, and we see that in India in that train station. She's like, that I didn't want to bring more people into the world. I wanted to help people that were already here. Yeah. And I just thought that was so great. But it rocked his world a little bit because he had created this whole story in his mind that was driving him mad, you know, to the point where he's alienating his girlfriend. He's alienating, you know, his adopted dad, who's just trying to like be helpful. And he isolates himself. And I think when we kind of get into the girlfriend aspect and like his career, that's when it kind of like slows down a little bit.
Yeah.
The momentum of like where we're going, but not to the point where I didn't like it. It just kind of, the momentum kind of lost there.
But it's fascinating though, because he uses Google Earth and they figure out, okay, you ended up here. Mm-hmm. So how fast did the trains go back then? Okay. Yeah. Let's figure out about where you might have picked up the train, because he does, he the town that he says he's from, nobody knows what it is, because that's just what he knew it was, because he's like, what, 5, maybe 6?
Yeah.
And so he's mispronouncing it or he's misremembering it. And so what he's looking for doesn't exist. And so they start going through and like Google Earth and looking for stuff. And he eventually finds the labor camp where his mom worked and is able to find her from there, which is incredible. And that's actually happened.
Yeah. Yeah, I think after I watched this movie, I was like, ooh, you can do that. And I went home and I'm like, I'm going to Google Earth my house, you know?
Like, oh,
I can see everything. But no, that was so cool. And then he started getting memories of the streets he's running down and, you know, all this stuff that's happening, which I just thought was very, very cool. You know, those memories coming back. And then when he finally gets to that town and you see like, his body is very different than everyone else that is there. He was pulled away from an environment where he didn't have to do hard labor every day. He was pulled away from an environment that he had proper nutrition, proper health checkups, exercise, like all of that kind of stuff. And so he is so much bigger than everyone else in this town. And it's just, to me, that scene of him entering that small town was so telling of how different his life was. And then when he starts walking to his house and it's just a bunch of goats, and he's like, well, that was my house. It's goats.
But I love the fact that he's so afraid to tell his adopted mother that he wants to find his birth mother. And that's, as somebody who knows someone who has been adopted, that's a heavy thing. Cause you're like, am I betraying what you gave me because I want to find my birth parents, you know? But he's so afraid that she's going to be upset, and she's completely on board with this.
Yeah. And I love how they show that his biological mom and his adopted mom were actually so thankful for each other.
Yeah.
And you know, you get to see, you know, as the movie is ending, like when they actually meet each other, and you know, all of this is just, I mean, to me, that's when I was just like, I gotta look out the window. Oh, it's pretty out there. That's pretty.
Flying at night, you can't even see the ground. Oh, look how.
And then in the postscript where it says that his mother never moved,
Yeah.
Because she never gave up the idea that he was going to find her somehow.
Yeah.
Because if she moves, there's no way he's going to find her.
She had hope that entire time.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
And both of his moms were redheads. So
now, Val, how did you first see this movie?
I saw this in the theater the first time I saw it.
Okay.
So
did you see it as a screening or did you go?
No, this was 2008. So I think I just got to Radio Disney at that point. I think this was probably a date night movie, or I went and saw it with my mother-in-law or something, but I remember seeing it in the theater. And it was very, very emotional. And just, again, so beautiful of a movie in so many ways. And I just again, Dev Patel is such a quiet actor. And I mean, by quiet, I mean you don't see Dev.
He does so much right here.
He really embodies whatever character he is doing, whether it's comedic or romantic or dramatic. And he just kind of melts away. And I'm just so impressed by him. Every movie that I see him in, I'm impressed by him.
Absolutely. And he does so much with his face. It's effortless. Sometimes you can see an actor and you're like, he's emoting, I mean, I like Leonardo DiCaprio, but you can tell when he's acting, and with Dev, you don't get that. It just is
it's just this organic, it's just very organic for sure.
Yeah. He's one of those subtle organic actors, a lot like Nick Cage, really. Very
much like Nick Cage. Yes.
There's a new Nick Cage movie streaming right now that I haven't watched, but it looks super.
With Ron Perlman?
Oh, I don't know. I just know
mafia guy. He's the former CIA agent.
I don't think that's the one. I think that's the one that's coming out in theaters. This one is when he gets in somebody's car with a gun, and and the guy's like, "Look, my wife's in the hospital, having a baby. This is a family emergency." And he goes, "I'm your family emergency." That's in the trailer, and I'm like, I have to watch this piece of crap.
Nobody can pull off a line like that.
I really want to watch
this. This is my favorite thing about Nick Cage. He will, and yes, we call him Nick because we're on that kind of level. Nick, forget Nicolas Cage. No, it's Nick around here.
Give Nick a call. You two need to hook up.
Yeah, Steven, Tom, Nick. That's who we hang out with on the weekends, guys. But I love that he will be in any movie that he thinks is fun, and then he will act his butt off in that movie. It doesn't matter how ridiculous the role is or how deep it is. He doesn't care. He's just going to give his all every time.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, anyway, we should grade this.
Yes, let's do.
I'll kick it off. I think it was really good. I do think there were points in the middle where it dragged a little bit, like we talked about, but not to the point where like you said, Val, it was still a really, really good movie. My wife, it was funny. She said, "I've never heard of this." I said, "No, this is one of those movies that unless you go to every movie that comes out or you're a big movie fan, you probably didn't hear about this one."
Right.
And so you should definitely go back and check it out. I'm giving it an A-.
Yeah, I'm with you, Jake. I'm going to go A- as well, just because of the little bit of the pacing in the middle. But like I said earlier, the cinematography is gorgeous. The coloring is great.
It is.
The acting's phenomenal. That kid is just a talent.
Even the brother, the younger brother and the older brother. Oh my god!
And the relationship with the two of them, you totally get the bickering and I don't want to take my little brother. I want to be with my friends and I want to get my work done because I'm the man of the house. And he's like, "No, I need to come. I need to help because this is what I need to do." And other than the little bit of the pacing in the middle, this was a film I had not heard of. I don't know how this one slipped by, but it did. So I'm really grateful, Val, that you recommended this one. A-.
I'm sorry, I think I said this came out in 2008. It came out in 2016. So it probably was a screener. 2008 was Slumdog Millionaire. So it may have been a screener. I saw it in the theater. But there was one of my favorite scenes in the movie is when he's having this flashback of, there was always a time when the kids went and played in this water hole area. And he walks to that water hole or past that water hole when he gets into the city, and he has this flashback. and his brother, who has to be like 15 years old, maybe, right? His older brother. Maybe even 13. I don't know.
13,
like
14, 15, somewhere right.
Yeah, something like that. But they're at the water hole and he's laying there, and his brother, little, when he's little, is just laying there on his chest because he is the man of the house. That is something you would do with your dad, but that's how close they were in that relationship. And he just remembers that. And then when he finds out that his brother, who he's been searching for this whole time, is not there anymore. And you're just like, oh. But for me, like, there are so many moments like that in the movie that are so, and I don't want to say this is such a sad movie. It's very hopeful. There are just a lot of emotions. Yeah, it's very human. It's very organic. And it's an A- for me as well. Again, there's a few things that I would kind of clean up, but not to the point where that's me being nitpicky.
Right.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's A- for me.
Yeah. I feel like it's really interesting because we all gave it A-, which is a really good grade, but I feel like we were all apologetic about giving it an A-. And then there's other movies that we've given A-, and we're like, oh, this was definitely really good. A-. Anyway, but this was good. It was nominated for 6 Oscars, by the way, in 2017.
Yeah, so I don't know how you missed on it, Tracy.
I don't know, but
slacker.
It's all the reasons why you should have seen it. We're just going to keep piling it on.
Exactly. But it is streaming for free. I watched it on the Roku channel. It's on Tubi TV. You can rent it through Apple
If you're
TV
flying Delta.
Others. Delta's got it. Yeah.
Delta, if you want to sponsor our show.
It is weird because I'm so used to, like, now it's streaming with movies and stuff. You don't necessarily get the commercials. So I watched on the Roku channel, and there's like this really poignant, emotional moment where he's dreaming about his mom, and he's dreaming about moving rocks with his mom, and then he's moving little rocks, and he's talking about how strong he is, and he's laying there on the ground, moving these little rocks and imagining he's moving bigger rocks with his mother. And then it cuts to a Chevy commercial, and I'm like,
Chevys can move rocks too.
They sure can.
They can. It's a weird advertisement there, because I'm thinking. Anyway, I'm going to make a comment that I'm not going to make that was going to stereotype people. That's not fair.
Way to catch yourself.
Thanks. There you go. There's Lion. Go check it out if you haven't heard of it or seen it, or you remember hearing about it and thought, I should probably watch that sometime. You should. Go check it out.
Yeah, very human, beautiful little story.
What do we... I don't even know where we're going to close this out. Thank you so much for your support. You're listening. You're watching. We appreciate it. We're always appreciative.
Share.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Share the video. Like the video. Comment on the video. Those kinds of things draw more eyes to our videos, and we always appreciate that.
Jake and I will be over at FanX in September. Val's going to be out of town, but Jake and I will be there. So if you see us, say hi. Yeah, we don't necessarily have a movies that make us panel, but we'll be over
but
there.
We'll probably pop up.
Yeah. We won't be there quite as much as we have been, but we'll be there.
If we find out our schedules before the day of the show, we will share that with you guys so everybody knows where to find us and how. Tracy will probably be in some kind of snazzy Roosevelt shirt. I will too. So
And then stay tuned to our Facebook page, because we'll let you know when we're going to do our Disney trivia night, which we have done every year for the past couple of years over at the Midway Tavern in Midvale. And you can come hang out with us and do some trivia. The trivia is free, but we're also going to have items to raffle so that you can donate to the American Cancer Society.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, thank you all for listening, watching. We appreciate it. And until next time, don't take any wooden nickels. I don't know. That's what my grandfather used to always say. Don't take any wooden nickels.
But
it ended up not being a big problem in life. Yeah. I thought it'd be a much bigger problem as I got older.
Pick up all the wooden nickels.
This has been an Age of Geek media production.